Hey guys, Stacy here with Life's a Project. So today's project is making some fall bows. So I thought I'd show you how I make a multi-ribbon fall bow with a decorative centerpiece. So I previously done a video on how to make a simple bow using one type of ribbon. So if you want to check that out, I will link that in the description below. So I'm going to start with using the Bowdabra. You can see here I have some fall ribbon. I've already cut a piece of Bowdabra bow wire that I'm going to be using to make the bow. I have some green floral wire or petal wire. I have my scissors. I have one faux flower, and it has a really pretty burlap accent. And two pine cones. And I have 3 burlap leaves in different colors. I thought that was pretty, the green, brown, and orange. And they already have the wired stems attached. So guys, I want to start by showing you how to make a decorative centerpiece. So my faux flower, you can see I left a pretty good sized stem on there because I'm going to be attaching all the different pieces to that stem. So first, my pine cone, I want to make a false stem using some wire, so that's where the floral wire comes in. I've already cut a piece and folded it in half. All you have to do is take the wire and kind of fit it down into the layers or those grooves of the pine cone. Pull those 2 wired ends together really tight and just give it a twist. So it just makes like a false stem. So you can put that in arrangements, you can attach that to wreaths, just whatever you want to do. It's really a neat little trick here. That second one, same thing, just fit it down into the grooves, taking the 2 wires, just kind of pull them tight and twist the ends together. So pretty simple. So done with the pine cones. So for the leaves, they already have that wired stem. So I want to attach them to this faux flower. So I'm just going to kind of angle it slightly, and at the base of the flower, take that wired stem and twist it around the flower stem. So I'm going to do that the same thing again with the second leaf. Just put it to the base of the flower and wrap that wire stem of the leaf around the flower stem. So for the third leaf, same thing, and you see how I'm fanning it out? It's kind of like making a little backdrop of leaves for the flower. Really pretty. And where everything is wired, you can kind of move that around how you want it to look. Kind of play with it there. So now I'm going to attach my pine cone, same thing, to the base of the flower, and just take that wire and wrap it around the flower stem. I'm going to do that one more time. And definitely, if you did not have wire, you could use, hot glue. I just think this way is a lot more, clean and neat. Don't have to worry about the strings from the hot glue. So this centerpiece is done. I think it turned out really pretty. You can see here, just from different angles. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside so I can get to working on my bow. So for the bow, I have a piece already cut of my bow wire folded in half. It has those cut ends and a loop end. I just want to load it down the center of the Bowdabra and tuck in those ends so that it secures that wire into place. So I want my bow to have multiple tails, and so I want to use the 3 different types of ribbon. So the first one is a 6-inch, and it's more of a kind of soft tulle material. It has no wired edge, and I just want to cut a piece off, and I like to fold my ribbon in half so I can see how long my tails are going to be once I load it into the Bowdabra. So I'm just going to cut a piece off here, and then take it and find the center by finding the two ends, scrunching it together, and loading it into the top of the Bowdabra. So I'm going to use my wand to press everything down. And then the next ribbon I want to use, so I'm going from the widest ribbon to the more narrow ribbon. So this one is a pretty fall leaf design. It's a 2.5 inch wired edge ribbon. And so I want to do the same thing, cut a piece similar in size, and take and find the center by folding the ribbon in half, and then taking that center and loading it into the Bowdabra. So the last ribbon I'm going to be using is an orange ribbon that has a plaid design. You can see it's the same on both sides. It measures 1.5 inches wide and has a wired edge. So you can see, looking at this other ribbon, it does have an unfinished and finished side, so it does matter how I load it into the Bowdabra. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting this ribbon. I want to find that center and then cut it the same length that I did the other ribbons, and then just take it and load it into the Bowdabra. So now I have my tails done. Of course you can make multiple tails, you can keep going and make as many as you want to, but I am happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and use my wand and press everything down. So now it's time to make my first loop. So using my orange plaid ribbon, I'm going to go ahead and stick in the end down into the Bowdabra and then set it aside. So you want to layer your ribbons in when you're using multiple ribbons to make a bow. So you can see I have the unfinished side facing out when I first loaded in, using my wand, pressing everything down, and then taking my wider ribbon that's on the top here and loading it in. You can see that it's showing that pretty side. I want to give it a twist and then load it into the Bowdabra and give it a press. So you can see there that first loop is done, and then I'm taking this orange ribbon and loading it into the Bowdabra, and both sides are the same, so it's not going to matter how I load it in there. I don't have to give it that twist. Sometimes I'm just used to doing it, so I just do it. So you just want to push it in there and keep making your loops, making sure that both sides are symmetrical, that both of your loops are the same length on both sides. So again, just take and twist your ribbon and load it in so the pretty side is always facing out. And you just keep doing that and checking for, both sides being symmetrical. And then you want to just give it a press every now and then with your wand. I'm finished making my loops on this side. I have 4 loops for each type of ribbon. So I think that's how fluffy I want it. If you made more loops, it's going to be, more fluffy. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this side, taking my last ribbon. So this one, you don't have to give it that twist. When you're finished, just scrunch it together and load it in. So 4 on this side as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take my wand and give it a press. So the ribbon part of the bow making is done. I can go ahead and cut my ribbon. And you would cut it here if you don't want a center loop, and you can cut it back here if you do want a center loop. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it up really close and go ahead and give it that press just to make sure everything is in here compact together. So at this point, I could take the centerpiece and load it into the Bowdabra and then tie it off that way, but for me it's much easier to just tie off the bow and then attach the centerpiece. So I'm going to go ahead and take the wire and bring it up to the top, and you want to take the cut ends and put it inside the loop end of your wire and then give it a pull. So at the same time you're pulling, you want to start working that bow out of the Bowdabra, and between your fingers give it a press, because when you're using a lot of ribbon it can get really thick and hard to hold on to. So now that everything is pulled together nice and tight, all I have left to do is to tie off my wire. So you do that just by tying a couple of knots. I think that holds everything together really nicely. And then once that's done, you can see here you have a couple of pieces of wire to attach this bow to many different things. So now I just need to start separating my loops, doing the fun part, and fluffing my bow. So you can see here when separating my loops, I like to do it in the opposite way of the previous set of loops. So see, you can see orange, and then the leaf design, and then the leaf design, then the orange, then the orange, and the leaf design. So you get a good mix of, design in your bow. You don't have all of the same type of ribbon on the top and then the other design of ribbon on the bottom. So I'm just going to keep working with my loops and getting them the way that I want them to look. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the pretty decorative centerpiece that I made earlier using the leaves, the flower, and the pine cones. So I'm going to go ahead and just take it and lay it right in the center. And just using the wired stem already in place, I'm just going to bend it around the center of the bow. Just push it back toward the back. And so you get the idea. You can take some wire and really tie it on there really tight so it's nice and secure. But that is pretty much it with adding the centerpiece, and I think it just gives it so much more character and just draws your attention to that bow, makes it more exciting. And you can continue to work with your loops and that centerpiece to make it how you want it. But I do have to finish up these ends, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So I like to finish up the ends of my tail with a dovetail cut. So that is really easy to do. All you do is take the ends of your ribbon and you just want to fold them in half. And using a pair of scissors, just take it and cut it on a diagonal. And that is it. So it leaves that really pretty finished edge. So I'm going to do them all like this. So guys, that is it. That's how you make a multi-ribbon fall bow that has that decorative centerpiece. So of course you can make this type of bow for any occasion. You just change up the materials that you use to match that season or holiday. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.